your new hot tub purchase. I know you're going to enjoy it for years to come. This video here is just to give you a real basic overview of the chemicals and kind of what you kind of need to do. You definitely need to read your manual. It would be in the control compartment of the hot tub. If the guys didn't give it to you when they delivered it, it'll actually be right here. If you take the panel off, the control panel or the owner's manual will be right there. If not, you can download it online at calderaspas.com. But this is a very valuable piece of information. Please make sure you download it and you read it. It's really important. It'll save a lot of know-how along the way. So that's there. Make sure you do that, and it'll make your life a lot easier. So we do have the owner's manual. Make sure you read through that. And then in your startup pack, you're going to have a couple of things. You're going to have a piece of paper that's like this, and this can be specific for every single hot tub that we have. It'll tell you your gallonage, and it'll tell you your usage of everything that you need to do. This is a really good piece of paper. Make sure you hang on to that and keep it someplace handy for you. I'll give you a few tips along the way to do. So with that being said, we're going to get started here. So with your brand new hot tub, obviously the first thing you want to do is you're going to fill it. And when you fill it, you always want to fill it through the filter compartment. So it's really important that you kind of coil the hose up in this filter area here. Make sure the breakers are off on the hot tub. Fill it up, and then you typically want to be above the highest jet but below the pillows. It's your hot tub. You can set it wherever you want, but that's kind of the rule of thumb. A lot of the hot tubs have LED lights all the way around, so that's kind of a good area to go as well. It's really important that when you fill your hot tub, the filter compartment or the skimmer weir, make sure that the water is above it's above the lowest point on that at all times. You can't let this ever run dry. It's really important that you have at least enough water to cover the top of the skimmer weir. So if you do that, you're in pretty good shape, but it's important that you have enough water in the hot tub. So got the hot tub all full, we're ready to go. We flip on the breakers, everything's working. Typically the jets will come on and we're running. Yay, we got a hot tub. So with that being said, we're going to go to the chemicals after that. So you got your startup sheet that we were talking about, and what we're going to do, and this is just something that works really good for me that I've used in the past, is you definitely want to have a Sharpie. This is a good way to go when you very first get started. So the first thing you're going to do when you get a new hot tub is you're going to test that. And this is something you're going to want to do on about a weekly basis. Your hot tub did come with a chemical kit, and it did come with test strips. Right now I'm going to do the Spa Frog, so we're going to do bromine test strips. So that it needs to have the red label on it. So when you're testing your hot tub, it's going to have this little foam thing on top. Make sure you take that off. Little trick is you always want to put this lid back on, because I've wasted more than whole bottles of test strips by not doing that. So what you do is you shake the test strip out, put it down in the hot tub, swirl it around a couple of times, and then we line it up. And then I don't know if Renee can kind of see, but on this particular hot tub, my bromine level's really good. We're about at a 5. You can kind of see that with the light green, the second one down. My alkalinity's pretty good at 80, and then my pH is pretty good at a 7.2, maybe even up to a 7.6 there. So if you look on the test strips, there's a little OK range on each one of these. You can kind of see the OK on the scale. So you line up those scales, and that's kind of where you want to be, is in that area. It's not an exact science. Everybody wants it to be perfect. It's not going to be, but you want to be in that range. So that's the first thing you do, is you're going to test your hot tub. And then after you do that, we're going to get everything all set up. We're going to start with the Spa Frog. Okay, so we're going to start with the Spa Frog, and the green cartridge here is going to be your bromine cartridge. This particular cartridge often comes in different colors. You're going to see purple, you're going to see yellow, all kinds of colors. Your bromine cartridge comes in, but it will say bromine on it. So that's what we're going to start there. You always want to start by taking the cellophane off. I know that sounds silly, but I had to. actually do that a couple of times for people. So you just want to take the cellophane off. And then anytime you're first starting up a hot tub, you want to turn. You can kind of see on here there's a little dial, and there's a number that shows up here. So we're going to turn that all the way up to 6. Now you can kind of see the residue of that bromine coming out. Don't wipe that on your shirt or anything because you will ruin clothes. But you can kind of see right here, there's a little number 6. When you first start up, you're always going to want to do that. So then the Spa Frog container is right here on all the tubs. There's the first lid, and then there's the carriage. Push down, line the arrows up, and then you pull that out. And on the back of the carriage, there's going to be one that says bromine and one that says mineral. So you're going to take your opened up 6 bromine, and you're going to snap that in there just like that. We're going to set that to the side. And that particular cartridge does need to be changed about every 3 weeks, or anytime you run out of bromine. You will go through it a little faster at the beginning. So the first 3 weeks of a hot tub, you'll go through it a little faster than you will as the bromine residual gets set up. But as you do that, you'll learn to judge it when you test it on that test strip. It'll definitely show up. So this is the mineral cartridge. And this one needs to be changed every 3 months or anytime you change the water in the hot tub. So it's pretty important that you do that. Again, the same thing. You have a dial. You want to crank that all the way up to 6. So once you do that, that snaps in the top part. It's pretty foolproof. Just snap that in there. And then you're going to put your loaded holder into the hot tub. Again, line the arrows up, push down on it, and turn. Put your cap back on, and you're preloaded on that. Little trick that I do is I actually mark on my cell phone. I remind myself on a calendar in 3 weeks to change my bromine cartridge, and in 3 months to change my mineral cartridge. But I actually just put that. You can put it on your calendar. You can put it on your phone. Just somewhere you can remind yourself to make that happen. So we do that, and then once we get that done, we're actually going to do a weekly bromine dosage, and this is where our Sharpie comes in. So I take my little cheat sheet here that I have, and I actually just write that on the side of my bromine, or on the side of all my chemicals. So for this particular hot tub, and everybody's hot tub is different, so don't take this literally. Make sure you read your sheet and do it to gallonage. But this particular hot tub is 3 teaspoons once a week. So I just write that on there. So this particular cap's a little smaller cap, and so I just kind of, that right there is about a teaspoon, well, probably about 2.5 teaspoons right there. So whenever you're doing chemicals, turn the jets on, just on a low, and put them in the filter compartment. The reason you want to do that is if you're broadcasting them out in a hot tub, and especially something like a bromine lands on the shell and it doesn't get moved off of there, it can actually bleach out or put stains on your hot tub shell. So if you put them in the filter compartment, they're going to get distributed evenly, and then you're not going to worry about ruining anything. So that one there that was about 2.5, so I put just a little bit more. If you want to get measuring spoons, you can definitely do that. And then you pour that in there as well. So we're going to do the bromine, and then we're going to do the stain and scale. Now this one here is really important for your hot tub. The best way for me to describe it as stain and scale is kind of like oil for a car. It keeps the hot tub moving. It keeps scale from forming. It protects the heater. It protects the motors. It protects the jet pumps. It protects your lines. So this one's really, really important. It's probably just as important or more important than the bromine. So this one is really important that you put it in, and it does need to go in weekly. Now this particular hot tub, we need to do 3 ounces once a week. So again, for myself, it just makes it easy. I'll put 3 ounces weekly. And now this one has actually got a dosage right here. So that's actually 2 ounces there, so I'm going to take it to about halfway there. And again, I just pour it right into the filter compartment. Again, and it's good to be close on your measurements, but you don't have to be. It's not like baking a cake. You don't have to be exactly on. So then we have our bromine, and then you do your Spa Perfect. Again, same thing. This one's about 4 ounces. So I just write that on the side for me. This particular bottle is 16 ounces, so that's about a quarter of the bottle. What this one does for you is it takes care of the greasy line, the oils, everything that hot tubs can get just from use, but it'll take care of any of that oily line that you get built up. It also helps keep the filter a little cleaner, cuts down on foam and all of the good stuff that can happen with a hot tub. This is a really good product, and you should really use that once a week as well. And then the last thing is shock. So if your hot tub ever smells like chlorine or bromine, that typically means you actually need to put more in. A lot of people assume that you're not putting enough in, but it's really important that you do shock your hot tub once a week. What that does is it takes the bromine or the chlorine in the hot tub, and it actually goes from bad chlorine or bad bromine to good bromine. It actually breaks those molecules apart. So this one's really important to do. This particular hot tub needs to do 3 tablespoons weekly, or anytime the hot tub's cloudy, you can also do a shock. Now, so again, you're more than welcome to have measuring spoons. If you're going to do that, make sure you have plastic ones. You can have them with you. I've just been doing this for quite a while. So about there is about 3 tablespoons of shock. Again, goes right into the filter compartment, and you put it in the filter compartment, and then it gases up. Now it is really important once you put shock in a hot tub that the cover stays open for at least 30 minutes. Because what happens is you're gassing off all the bad stuff, and if it hits the cover and bounces right back down, you're actually creating more of a problem. So it's really important that you gas that off and let it breathe once you put shock in the hot tub. So then after that, that's when you test your pH and alkalinity. Now, you should get a water sample bottle when we drop off your kit. You can bring in a water sample to anybody at the store at any time, and you will actually get a very cool little reading that tells you exactly where your pH and alkalinity are. And it'll tell you, we'll highlight it for you and tell you exactly what you need to do. And then everything below that line will be your weekly maintenance as well as of today. So everything else I just did was kind of a guideline. This is a little more specific. It takes a lot of things into account. So the combination of the two is a really great way to go. A lot of people, when they first get a hot tub, they like to bring in a sample about once a week after they get the hang of it, because this is really pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Once a month is probably pretty good. So just bring in a water drinking bottle, or just bring in a sample and we'll run it through the computer for you. So, but what happens, everybody is different, so I can't give you a real general guideline on what you have to do on your particular hot tub. But the most important one, so if you're on the test strip, and this particular hot tub tested out pretty good, but you always want to start with your alkalinity. That's the most important one. If alkalinity is in line, it's the buffer for everything else, and everything else will stay in line. So you want to be in between that 80 and 120 parts per million. This particular hot tub hit the 80 exactly, so we were pretty good, and we don't really need to make any adjustments. But if you do need to make an adjustment, you can either bring in a sample to the store, and we'll give you to the teaspoon of what you need to put in, or you can read the back of the bottle. So this particular hot tub is 400 gallons. And if I wanted to raise it, so I'm at 80 and I decided that I wanted to get it up to 105, I'd put in 4 tablespoons. Again, you just need to find your gallonage and then line it up how many parts per million you want to raise it, and you kind of go from there. So just to make it easy for myself, again, a little cheat, I put 400 gallons so that I know that, and it's written on the bottle, and I don't have to go find my paperwork every time I'm trying to do that. So alkalinity is the most important, and you need to make sure that that's in line. Typically, we find around here in this market that we have to raise it. We do have a few markets that we have to lower it. So once the alkalinity is in line, then you work on your pH. So if your alkalinity is really high, you want to ignore the pH until you get it down. If it's really low, you want to ignore the pH until you get it up. Once you get the alkalinity in line, then we balance on the pH. Again, this particular hot tub was pretty good. We were right here at about a 7.2, or I'm sorry, 7.6. And that's kind of the range we want to be. If it was low, again, we'd add the pH increaser. And the same thing, I write 400 gallons on the side of the bottle. And then I line that up. So if I'm at 400 gallons and the pH is less than 7.2, it adds 6 tablespoons. If it was less than at 7.2 and I want to go a little higher, I'd be at 4, and just kind of read your bottle and kind of go up from there. And then, if your pH and alkalinity are actually high, you have to take them down with what we call pH decreaser. This product works really good, but it actually takes both the alkalinity and the pH down. To take the alkalinity down, it usually takes a little bit of time. A lot of times we'll see it can take anywhere from 5 to 14 days to get the alkalinity down. It usually takes 2 to 4 tablespoons every day, and it's pretty important that you put it in every day. You can use your hot tub during that time frame, but it's really important that you get that alkalinity in line. Once it's in line, everything else will be really easy to balance. If you have real high alkalinity, you probably have pretty high hardness as well, and that's where that Stayman scale is going to come into effect, and it's even more important that you do that. Again, just a little cheat for myself, I put 400 gallons on the side of the bottle so that I know that I have all that. So that's almost everything that's in our test kit. We do have filter cleaner. This is a pretty important product as well. There's a lot of different ways you can use filter cleaner. You can either spray it directly on the filter and let it sit overnight and then spray it out with a garden hose. What I do at home that works extremely well, and I highly recommend doing this, is actually getting a second filter for your hot tub. You can usually do this within the first 3 months, but what I'll do is I'll take a 5-gallon bucket, I'll put the filter in the 5-gallon bucket, I'll actually pour this entire bottle of filter cleaner in, and then I'll top it off with water. Once I do that, I will actually switch the filters out about once a month, making sure I rinse them both really good before switching them out. If you do that, you'll get about 2 to 4 years out of your filters, and it actually just makes life a lot easier. You're not ever having issues. The number one and first service call that you'll have on any hot tub is a dirty filter. So let's cut there for a second.